Hi, my name is Madison Rosenberger, and I am going to be discussing the two strategies that I was assigned. So the first strategy that I'm going to be discussing is the syntax surgery strategy. This strategy basically is what we use to allow students to better gain the ability to gauge a sentence on its problem, whether it's problematic or not, by hearing it or seeing it verbally. So the students will be able to, after doing this strategy several times and gaining this ability, they'll be able to recognize if a sentence has nouns, if it needs certain letters into it, if it has its predicate, its verb, or typical sentence structure. So in this, how I would model this to my students and begin doing it is I would say the sentence verbally, the sentence that we're working on verbally. I would have the sentence pre-prepped and ready to go on the board, probably with magnets so we can move them around. It's a little bit more interactive for the students if I choose to have them get up and come to the board. And if we have a sentence, for example, me have bag brown. So me have bag brown does not sound correct at all, but for English language learners, this is often how they speak because they're not correctly putting their nouns and predicates and that kind of thing in order. So it's very good for them to be able to hear it and see it visually so they can better gain that success in their proficiency. So in modeling it and putting it on the board like that and they're hearing it verbally, we will go by and operate on our sentence since it's a syntax surgery, and we will change each word. So we will look at the word me, and me have bag brown. So we'll discuss whether me needs to be there, if it's the right form of describing ourselves, and we'll go through each word like that and figure out if it sounds correct and if it looks correct. And this will better help our students construct their sentences properly, and it'll better help our students in the revision process as well. So I think that this can be done in a whole group. It can be done in pairs once you get to that point. But for the teacher modeling, I feel that doing it on the board and having a visual or even having a PowerPoint set up for that would be best. So what I have as like my full description, just to finish out with this, I put, with the syntax surgery, students will be able to identify factors that would label a proper sentence as being problematic or not, and obtain ample exposure to hearing and or seeing construction of a proper sentence. Because that repetition is really what helps our English language learners grow in their success as an English speaker. So I also put, I will model proper sentences and allow the students to help me fix the improper sentences. This will be done after the students are done writing as oral communication for group. Okay, so as we're doing this, the students will be they'll be writing the sentences along with us if they're not the ones at the board and that kind of thing. And that way they're writing it, they're seeing it, and they're hearing it. And all of those things come into their success once again. Okay? So my next strategy is the cognitive strategies for 24. Okay, so the cognitive strategies basically is, why are the words the way they are? What are they? Where do they even come from? And this strategy is what really allows our English language learners to understand why we put words in certain ways and that kind of thing. It allows them to distinguish where, why we use this certain word as a noun, why we use that certain word as a verb, and that kind of thing. It allows them to think about, better on beyond just putting the words together. Okay, so for the students, good games and that kind of thing that are interactive for them to do, they can do, word sorts, like where you have verbs and you have nouns and different kinds of words, all in, and they sort the words out just to figure out what they are, what their roots are, where they've come from, that kind of thing. So for modeling, I guess what I would say that the cognitive strategy is best done by modeling the actual strategy. What are the words, and going over those with your students, and just direct instruction in general. I feel that this strategy would be done best by introducing your vocabulary first, because if you chunk a bunch of words at your kiddos that they don't know, they might just chunk them back at you because they're not going to know what they are, right? So from beyond there, pretty much introducing your vocabulary first, and then you can move on from there. Now, you want your students to know the 4 categories of the cognitive or cognates. There's 4 of them, and a good way for them to distinguish that is to have them make a chart, and then have them you do it with them as you model it, and y'all list out different words under it so they have examples, so that way they have a visual that they can take with them. They're hearing you say it, and they're seeing it on the board too. Okay, so the first category that they would learn is words that are the same in each language. So English and Spanish, they're very alike. You're going to have words that are kind of the same. I personally cannot roll my R's, so I cannot say these words very well. But an example of that would be like car, the word car in English, and the word carrio or cario in Spanish. I believe it's how you pronounce it, from what I found online. And so you'll have those words that they're very alike, and you need your students to be able to distinguish between them. So they're going to be the same in each language. They're interchangeable for them, and they need to know that. But all words, as we know, are not interchangeable, right? Because we don't have one language everywhere. Okay, so our second category is words that are spelled similar. So they mean the same thing, but they're spelled similar. They're a little bit different in each language. Okay, so that would be like the word caution in English and the word caution in Spanish. It's spelled just a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay? And the third one is going to be words that are they're similar words with the same meaning. So the word sport in English, and then the word deporte in Spanish, I believe. Okay? And then the fourth category that you're going to have is words that sound alike, even though their spelling varies. So you're going to have the words that they mean the same thing, but they're not going to be spelled exactly the same in each language. And your students need to be able to distinguish between that, because they're learning and they're going to try and interchange those words, and they're not always going to work for them. So I learned a lot with these strategies. I definitely acquired some knowledge that I did not have before as an educator, and I look forward to using these in my classroom next year. So thank you.